Hey guys, Mr. Dualmind here for the start of a new series. This is going to be a role-playing guide, by the title, duh. This is part 1. What is roleplay? I'm going to be reading a script through this, so this is going to be mostly smoother than it usually is, except for this part right here that I'm doing. This is made by what I'm going to start calling the Mr. Dualmind team, so I'm not reading this from a website or anything. This is our own work, and hopefully this will give you guys some good insight into what roleplay is. So, we're going to get started right away here. So, we're going to start off with the basics. RP, meaning roleplay, is the act of controlling a character's actions as if they are their own living being. These actions range from fighting, to working, to simply sitting down and talking with their fellow people. It is a common misconception, often by people who look down on roleplayers, that if you roleplay, you're automatically into cybering. This is very, very far from the truth. Cybering, or ERP, meaning erotic roleplay, is a very common form of roleplay. You will find all sorts of groups or people that are interested, or even only interested, in this kind of roleplay. However, a large majority of the role-playing society are interested in much, much more, and some even reject the idea of ERP. Roleplay is much more than going into a fight in a game and yelling, "Have at ye, foul villain!" and attempting to slay them as if you are some big hero or something. That is a very, very old form of roleplay, and today is commonly looked down on as if you're trolling or simply not being serious in any way about trying to roleplay. Many people assume that all girl characters within a roleplay, be it in a game or through other means such as forums, will be a male player behind said girl character. This may be true, I mean, not always, obviously, but it is true that a majority of them, of female characters that is, are played by men. So let me ask you something. So what? Let me say now the statement, role-playing as blah blah blah, should not exist. You are not role-playing as anything. Saying that implies that you're putting your character as a representation of yourself, when this should not be true. Your character should be its own being, with their own set of morals, belief, and strengths and weaknesses. Your job as a role-player is to discover, who this character is, and let them live freely. You must learn them to the point that you know how they would react in certain situations. Here's an example. James, a man in a long robe with a hood that casts a shadow over his face, walks over to the table. He pulls a scroll from inside the robe and sets it gently down on the table in front of the woman seated just beyond. "I have a job for you, if you're interested." Now, how would your character react to this? This is quite the shady man who is blatantly offering this woman a job when he doesn't even know her, or at the very least, she does not know him. So would she want to know what the job is? Would she simply turn him down, not wanting to deal with somebody as shady as the man standing before her? It is your job as a role player to discover who your character is, so that you know how they would react in a similar situation. How do you do this, though? How do you learn your character? Wouldn't you need to see them in action before you know who they are, yet would need to know who they are to see them in action? Wrong and wrong again. When you make a character, you should always start with a general idea of who they are. A good, detailed background will help. A general personality and just their views on things as a whole. This will get you started so that you can build up your character through progression. But we'll talk about that in a later episode on character creation. So, back to the main topic at hand. There's a popular saying in roleplay. It has many, many versions, and I'll just give you mine. A roleplayer is a writer. We simply choose to entertain ourselves and those few around us, rather than try and sell our art as work. This saying means that we are story writers, and as we roleplay, we are writing our story. It will not be a story to be told in books, we will not gain fame for the things to write, and there will be no best-selling roleplay, and nor should we strive for there to be. We take this character we have made, and we set them loose on the world. We pick out the first set of events for them in hopes it will lead them to more things. Let's say you send your character to a bar. Everything that comes of this trip will decide what your character can do. Everything that happens will be decided by your character's personality, beliefs, and morals. let's say you send your character off to a bar. At the bar, somebody comes up to you with a job offer. They tell you about a man who escaped from a nearby prison, and they want to send you after them. They believe you'll be able to catch them rather easily, and if you do the job, well, they might have more work for you. Or more work that's suited your skills. So, what will your character do? There are endless possibilities here, really. Is your character the cocky type looking for work, who would gladly take up the offer, bring in this convict, and start his life as a bounty hunter? Or would he simply turn down the man saying he's only here on business, and turn his attention to the lovely lady sitting across the bar? Perhaps interacting with her would strike up a relationship between two characters. Perhaps your character is destined to become a family man, and take this woman off to be his beloved bride. Or whatever. Of course, your opinion does always matter. Maybe you don't want to roleplay through a relationship. Maybe you aren't interested in having your character settle down. Maybe even you don't like killing and would prefer to find just a normal job for your character. There's only one rule of roleplay, and you should never forget it. The rule is simple. You never have to be part of a roleplay that you don't want to be. If you don't like where a roleplay is going, pull your character out of it. Tell the other people involved that your feelings on it and why you're pulling out. If they plan to give you trouble for it, simply ignore them and stop roleplaying with them. There's something called a retcon, and this is when you remove something that happened in a roleplay from the known history of roleplay. Here's an example of retconning. Your character gets married to another person's character. They were so happy they rushed into the marriage. However, by the next morning, the other player has deleted the character that your character got married to and moved on to who knows what. You have the full right to retcon the marriage and meeting the person. This means that as far as you and your character are concerned, you never met lovely Sue and never got married to her. So, what is roleplay? Roleplay is not pretending to be somebody else like most people think it is. Roleplay is an art and a form of entertainment. It can be hard, and it may not always make you happy. But roleplay is not something you should be entirely in control of. You should always put your character in situations that you would want them to be in, because you should have first made a character that would get themselves into those situations on their own. As roleplayers, we are nothing more and nothing less than literary artists that have chosen a different kind of page to write our story on. This has been the start of the series for guides on roleplay by Mr. Dualmind. I hope you guys liked this, and I hope it was helpful in what is roleplay, and up next I'm going to be doing a character creation help. These videos are probably going to be coming up a lot quicker than most of my gameplay videos because it doesn't take as much time to upload them. It actually takes longer for me to edit the videos than it does to upload them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and share the videos if you can. And I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.